Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Ten of Wands. I'm also seeing Hermit on the bottom of the deck. What is drawing my attention when I'm seeing this Hermit card is immediately it looks like a phone to me that the person's holding in the picture. I'm seeing someone sort of out on their own. It feels like even on the outskirts of something, just sort of like standing in the dark, staring at their phone here. Having Ten of Wands, you can be feeling stressed out by something. I wonder if it has to do with something socially going on. Like it can have to do with phone. When I think of phone, I think of communication, interpersonal situations, conversations, responses, waiting on a response, waiting to find something out, waiting to figure something out, because Hermit is connected with Mercury, so there can be like messaging that's involved. They're trying to understand something. Okay, the Ace of Swords is here. To have Ten of Wands and then to have Ace of Swords, you go from feeling like you're at your limit to then being broken out of that. So you could have even felt like, I can't take it anymore, but then having that Ace of Swords be there, it's shattering sort of that wall that you have been trying to penetrate even. I feel like trying to get through to the other side of something, and that is happening in this moment. Where you can put everything down now, like you got to the other side. It's like you had to use your arsenal, like all of your tools that you had to try to like break through this wall here. And when you have that Ace of Swords, it feels like that moment where you broke through. So you can like drop it now. You don't have to make that effort really anymore. Like it's completed. You did what you were trying to do. And you could have really felt like it brought you all the way to the edge here. And so now you've broken through. Now you can sort of drop everything. There's going to be a little bit of a transition. But I definitely get this feeling of dropping what you're doing because you accomplished. Like if you were trying to break through a wall, you've broken through now at this point, so you don't need to keep going with this Ten of Wands. You could have even felt like you were driving yourself a little bit crazy here with Ace of Swords and the Devil. The Devil can be something that you just weren't letting go of. Oh, the Devil and Two of Cups. Okay. Two of Cups when we don't have the Devil. Without the Devil being there, Two of Cups will be... Ultimately, it's about your relationship with yourself. Two of Cups I see as being that the balance of the two different sides of your own energy, where when it comes together, you feel a sense of, I'm at home, I feel at peace, I don't feel like I'm going around looking for anything anymore. Everything that I need is right here with myself. But when you have the Devil, you could have attached what you think this like other part is to something materially. Like, I need to have that in order to feel complete, or I need to have that person in order to feel complete, or that thing in order to feel complete. Because Two of Cups, it's about the cups. It's about something that's a very spiritual energy here. When you bring the Devil, it makes something material. It makes something other than self, because there is that objectifying that's happening. And so when you have the Devil and the Two of Cups, it's, I'm looking at an object that I perceive as being outside of myself and saying that that is the thing that I am imbuing with power, the power that will leave me feeling like I'm complete when I have that thing. And then inevitably the suffering that we experience because anything can go away, anything can be taken away. All of this stuff that is material, it's going to rust or it's going to change. And so this feels like realizing I have been giving my power to something outside of myself and calling that home. And it does feel like something has been occurring where you could have felt like you were sort of suffering the consequences of that. This feels like I was telling myself that something outside of myself was going to be the answer that was going to bring me home to myself, and it was some type of external other object. And then what ensues when we do that, when we're seeing things in that way, when that's what we're believing, that is the reality that we're creating. Because when we perceive something as being object and outside of ourselves, when we're looking at it like that, it will always be outside of ourselves. Like, you'll never be able to get like close enough, or it will never not be vulnerable to change or the moving nature of things. And it even almost contrasts or contradicts the energy of the Two of Cups, because the Two of Cups is something in here. The Two of Cups is something that the material world can't impact when we really feel that sense of the Two of Cups. Like, distance doesn't impact it. Whether something's in your face or not doesn't impact it. Whether something is like materially animated, it doesn't impact that. That's always that soul to soul energetic connection that you're feeling within yourself, and nothing material can take that away or impact that, because it transcends the material realm. But when we have the devil here, it brings things into the material realm in a way where, again, we see something as object, we also, there's that like lusting after that thing of feeling like that's going to be the answer. And even though it comes from that place with the Two of Cups, where there is something that is being yearned for, whenever the devil is involved, that's not really going to be the way that we end up finding it. But it's very, very close to it, and so it's easy to sort of misinterpret the energy in that way. But I'm wondering too if this is something that you're having a breakthrough about. I wonder if some process has now become so stressful that you're taking a look at it and seeing maybe where it has like perverted in some type of way. And when I'm saying it like that, I mean, when the devil is involved, we can attempt to use that energy for a purpose, trying to satisfy something that it's not really the answer to. It's not really going to be a material answer when it comes to the Two of Cups. It's not really going to be an object outside of you when it comes to the Two of Cups. But the devil can really convince us otherwise of that. Because the devil is kind of connected with our karmic inclinations. The devil is connected with our wounding. The devil is connected with the Maya as well. And so it has us very caught up in the tangible, thinking that that is going to be the answer for something like this, when it is well far beyond that. And when we have the devil and the Two of Cups, it can make this, when we're clinging to something like that, it can be a very crazy making feeling when the devil is involved. It can be something that we become obsessed with. The noise is only going to be for a little bit. It can be something that we become obsessed with. It can be something that, if we are not feeling like we're in control of it going our way, it can be extremely, extremely frustrating. There is a lack of grace, like a lack of acceptance, a lack of understanding for the way that things are, and very much wanting it to fit an agenda that we've created, and the energy doesn't necessarily work in that way. And it's like trying over and over and over again, like it needs to fit exactly like this in order for it to be right, and if it's not like that, then, you know, it's just a very like tragic process it can be trying to make these things work, and then you get to the point where you realize the redundancy of it, where you realize that what you're looking for, you've sort of sent yourself on a mission where that really wasn't going to be what would be found. Not in that way, not when the devil is involved, because the devil blinds us. It blinds us by our obsessions. It blinds us by the attachment to the material. And again, the Two of Cups, it transcends the material. And so it's a different plane that you're working with altogether. I just saw a blue jay that came through in another one of the readings. The noise is almost finished. So what I'm seeing now on the bottom of the deck is that we have the Eight of Cups, and with the devil, which I feel classically, I heard this quote and it really summarizes the energy of the devil. You can never get enough of something that almost works. That is the energy of the devil. So it keeps you chasing after it and chasing after it and chasing after it. And you can never really get your fill of it because it's not that real thing that you're looking for. It is not that pure essence of the energy. Sometimes it can feel like that a little bit, but never in a whole, full, I actually feel satisfied. There is that lack of fulfillment, that lack of satisfaction, and the continuous chasing, that continuous karmic cycle that we find ourselves within. And this Eight of Cups feels like coming to a realization that although it's not like you're on a wrong mission looking for the Two of Cups. That's a natural seeking that we experience, but when the devil is involved, you're not going to find it that way. And I think you've gotten to the point where you can be feeling like you've maxed out the effort that you can put in, and when you have this Ace of Swords, it can be mental clarity, like an absolute breakthrough, an epiphany that you experience where you're seeing something for what it is, and you can see it very much as being a trap that you've fallen into. But that's also like the point of it too. Like the reason we're here in this, part of the reason we're here in this material realm and are dealing with things like this is to realize that there's only so far that the material objects can go. That they do have a place, yes, but when it comes to you looking for something like the Two of Cups here, it's not the way to find it. It almost feels like you've been having these goggles on and it's been really changing the way that you're looking at reality, and you get to the point where I feel like you've just gotten so dizzy having the goggles on that you take them off, and when you take them off, it's this moment of having a breakthrough, because I feel like you got to a point where you were like you couldn't do anything else. Like all of the energy had been expended. It feels like everything just ran out in that moment. Like there's no more effort even left within me. And in that moment, the Ace of Swords is there where you have this cognitive, a cognition, a breakthrough. And you see like, oh, that's what I was seeing was not what's actually in front of me. I was seeing something because I had those goggles on. And then you realize that it's like when you had the goggles on, let's say that like you're looking for food or something like that. You have the goggles on and it's telling you that there's like food in front of you, and so you're eating it with the goggles on, and then when you take the goggles off, you see that it's been like air in your hand. And like no wonder that hasn't been sustainable. No wonder that hasn't been sustaining you. And that's really what the devil does, but it's a very significant energy. It's a very beautiful, amazing epiphany here when we have Ace of Swords next to the devil, because it's that moment of taking those goggles off and you see what had been going on. And it feels very obvious, like that's why that wasn't fulfilling. That's why that wasn't sustaining me. And I feel like there's also hope in the silver lining, because you know that it's possible to find the Two of Cups, and that what you were doing wasn't the Two of Cups. And so it's not that there's something wrong with you. It's not that you can't find the Two of Cups. It's that that wasn't. And so it wouldn't feel like the Two of Cups to you. And that's what was going on within the situation. That's what was happening. And when we have this Eight of Cups here, this can be a time when you cut your losses. This can be a time when you realize I can put those goggles back on and be trying to eat that like fake food that I'm seeing with the goggles on, which it's real in that dimension. But when it comes to how it's like physically impacting you, it's not within that realm of you need something that you can digest. You need something that is going to feel like it has substance to it to nourish you. So no wonder you're feeling like I'm just getting hungrier and hungrier and hungrier when you have the devil there, because it just makes you want more and more and more, because it's never enough, because it's not really sustaining you. It's not really nourishing you. And that's why it feels like that. That's why you can get like that ravenous energy when you connect with something that's the devil, because it's like almost there, but not really. Like you never really get there. And so you just go after it more and more and more. And I do feel like you've gotten to this point where like, I don't think that you had any energy left to give with this 10 of Wands. This feels like the whole point of what you were going through, even though you could have thought like, my whole point is that I'm trying to get full right now. The whole point of this actually on a spiritual level of you going through this was to realize that you had the goggles on. That's actually what this was about. Because you weren't going to get full that way. You weren't going to be nourished that way. You weren't going to be satisfied that way. So it wasn't actually about that, even though in our heads it can be about that. But when it's about getting to that point where you realize and you take the goggles off, like, oh, that was the whole point. So I could realize that I had these on in the first place. That was skewing my perception in the first place. And when you have the 8 of Cups on the bottom of the deck, it can be that moment when you realize that that's not going to be the answer for you. Not this way. I even get you sort of emerging from a bit of a cocoon here. But that can be something that can be a bit difficult, that transition as you're pulling yourself out of that. Because there can be a safety within the cocoon where the devil is with us. There can definitely be that safety within there. So when you're sort of coming out of that, there is a release that happens, there is a letting go, there is a washing off essentially, there is a purification that is happening. Before starting the reading, when I was meditating, I was seeing the image of a crab. It looked like a drawing, and then I was seeing it like lit on fire. And when I see a crab, the first thing that I think about is Cancer. Cancer is connected with the moon. The moon's connected with our emotions, our intuition, our internal experience that we're having, our past, our roots, and then having fire there. Fire is purification. And so this feels like something that was going on where there had been a chain, there had been a distortion within the energy, that now there is a purification that's happening in the heart center. I feel too, when we have the devil and we preceding the 2 of Cups, it can be that you're looking for something from that place of desperation, of I'm looking for something outside of myself from a place of desperation, from that place of clinging, of cloying, of neediness. And how, when that is our mentality, things get taken very, very far. Like you disturb something that is the 2 of Cups, which is that very pure essence of the energy, that it's only natural to want to bring that together. but going about it in a way where like that is not the route, that's not the path where it's actually going to do that. Because that Two of Cups is going to be something that we must feel within ourselves, and if we feel like that relationship with ourselves is cut off, is disconnected, the more desperate we can feel for it to be something outside of ourselves, for it to be that other person, or for it to be that other thing, or for it to be that job, or that identity, or that recognition, or that money, whatever it is. And it comes from that place of like not feeling good enough, or like I don't actually love myself. It comes from like self-esteem, or I don't really know my values, or I don't really understand my values. So many different ways that this can be, but always a looking outward, always projecting outward, and then feeling that sense of disconnection with self, when really it's a calling to look inward. This feels like the inner harmony that is natural and normal for you to be feeling. Whatever this was that you were involved in, it got to be too much, where it like disrupted that too much, it threw that off too much. So you could have felt like really like there was it was taking too much energy and still not emitting that feeling of inner balance, harmony, things working properly, things working the way that they needed to be. Like you had to put in so much effort to just get something to kind of balance out, and you know that something is off when you're feeling like that. And that's where this conflict has been coming from, and that's what you've been feeling. But having the Devil there, it can be something that we don't want to let go of, because it can be so nice when we have those goggles on from a shadow place more so. But there's a comfort within that of like, what if I just snap my fingers and what I want is just like really there in front of me, and it's very easy to get that, and having it be that thing outside of myself. And when you take the goggles off, it sort of changes the scenario. And so the Devil can be a very comforting energy that we experience. It can feel like a safety that we cling to. Even though it's not really going to do what you need it to do, there can be a feeling of safety within it. It can be something that allows us to feel all right for a minute. This can also be a very deep clinging to the past as well. Seeing Devil be connected with Six of Cups. This can be an obsession over the past. And to the point where you can feel like it's even stealing your present away from you. This feels like a really big tempering is going on here. A really big tempering even is necessary here. To make sure that you're utilizing your energy in a way that is going to do what you want it to do, rather than something feeling like it's controlling you or out of control even. Okay, what this looks like is that rather than being able to see things presently as they are, there was a really big veil where it looked like what you were seeing was the past and not the present in this given situation. And that was what was getting in the way of you seeing things clearly, because I'm seeing the breakthrough having to do with that. I'm seeing Aries on the bottom of the deck. We also have Capricorn here. You could have been feeling really stressed out, like you didn't have any more energy to give, and also like a feeling of conflict here, a feeling of something being worked out. But when you have the Devil there, that's something very, very, very difficult to work through, because of the sense of comfort, because of that attachment. Working out something from the past here. I feel like you're seeing very clearly where things were becoming skewed. And this feels like it's putting some things into perspective for you in a major way now at this point. I also feel too like this is about you taking initiative. This feels like a personal thing that you have going on within the energy. When it comes to like, even the way that you're playing things, how stuff is falling into place. Yeah, I feel like I'm seeing the Ten of Wands go in with justice, and what this feels like to me is that this can be a relationship that's really been stressing you out, but why this can feel so stressful, why the dynamic can feel so stressful, is because there's like an overbearing of the energy of the dynamic. And what this means is that there is not, the scales are not balanced, which means that there's some issue that mathematically really can be worked out here, and if it's looked into. But this can also mean too that it's necessary for change, but there can also be a fear of exactly that, of like what little you do have that you're holding on to. If change occurs, what if it takes even like that little ounce of what you have that you're connecting with here? And that can be something that is an intimidating thing to think about. Okay. I'm seeing you be in a very clear-headed space now. I do get that there was tension. Learning more about what gets in the way of you seeing things clearly. A bunch of past stuff coming up here. It's past stuff to the point where it's not like don't think about the past at all. It's more so when you're only seeing things through that lens, where I'm hearing the word edifying, when you're only seeing things through that lens, where it doesn't allow you to clearly see what's going on in this moment and also the potential of things, that's where it can become problematic. It can be an attachment to things as they were, a refusal to accept things as they are, and then the byproduct of our experience from doing things in that way. Wow, interesting. So Two of Cups is going in with Seven of Swords. So this is actually the thing that keeps you, it's like the thing that you were going towards thinking that that was going to be the Two of Cups for you is actually what keeps you away from the Two of Cups because of how it was being done. I wonder too if this is like driving, if it was driving you further away from yourself. Now there's something going on here where it feels like some courageous steps can be taken and that will prove to be helpful. And that is the suggestion, like stepping into your brave new world here. All right, my friends, we're going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.